Hello, welcome to the Nintendo Bros podcast. This is Pete,
And this is Derek.
and we have a pretty exciting episode this week, don't we, Derek?
Yeah, quite a few news, trailers, new games to talk about, things to dissect. Yeah, so it'll be good.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of like kind of what would have been E3 news in past years, the June news cycle.
Yeah, we're just getting into it, but yeah, it'll be good.
But some pretty big reveals here to talk about tonight, actually, like some really big ones. So let's just get right into it, shall we?
Yep.
So on the Nintendo camp, we'll get to, we know there's a Sony State of Play, that's the big news. Let's talk about some other stuff first.
Yep.
These games are, this is the new Sonic Frontiers. They finally showed gameplay. I think IGN got the scoop. And they showed a pretty significant chunk of gameplay. Did you watch this, Derek?
Yeah, I watched all 7 minutes, whatever, and there's supposed to be more tomorrow.
More of the same.
No more. It's gonna be combat tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't realize. Is this coming out on Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what version they were showing, but so what do you think about this, Derek?
It's funny. I kind of go back and forth. Like, to me, there's something interesting about an open world Sonic, and just kind of running around. And I think this path of being an open world Sonic has potential. I think there is something there. From what I actually saw, it was kind of underwhelming. I thought there was a lot of pop-in, felt a little slow, felt kind of barren, felt like kind of a test world. It didn't do much for me. This game looks like a hard pass as far as what I saw. I mean, we'll see what the combat video looks like. But I for the first time in a long time, I'm more intrigued by Sonic than the past 10 games that did the same thing over and over again not well. This is kind of doing something different not well. So it's interesting. That's what I say.
I mean, it's not a total write-off like Sonic Forces was.
Exactly.
Or the re-release of Sonic Colors or Sonic Lost Worlds or the list goes on. Sonic and the Black Knight. The last Sonic game I bought was Sonic and the Secret of the Rings on Wii because I was just needing something for Wii and it was exclusive and it used motion controls and I got pretty into it.
Nice.
And no, I lie. I bought Sonic Colors and I bought Sonic Mania.
My last one was either I can't remember if it was DS or Game Boy Advance. The one when there was like that purple looking cat thing.
That's got to be Sonic Adventures. Sonic Adventure.
Is that
for Dreamcast, GameCube, and I think they re-released it elsewhere.
No, that was not the game.
He is in that, the big purple cat guy.
No, not the big purple cat guy. It's like a female, like panther cat looking from space almost. I'll find it.
I don't know.
I think it's DS.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic's been pretty hit and miss. Sonic Colors was okay. Sonic Generations was decent.
Sonic Rush, just so you know. Sonic Rush.
Oh yeah, that
DS.
was a good one on DS where you use both screens. That was actually a really good one. I played it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean the 2D Sonics have been okay. I don't feel like they've ever really nailed the 3D Sonic.
Yeah, they've been okay, but yeah, it doesn't quite feel the same.
I gotta say, the original Sonic Adventure when it came out was awesome. Like they landed that one. It was janky to play now, but at the time it was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But since then they've never really landed. For me, Sonic Frontiers I thought looks absolutely awful.
Yeah, same. the pop in and just like there's no consistency in the art direction. Just like floating rails. It just doesn't.
I just don't understand it. Yeah, and the thing is,
it looks like a test.
So
realm.
one of my notes was, "Where's the enemies?" And now you're saying they're going to show off combat tomorrow. So did they just turn the enemies off in the world? Like the world looked barren, like you said.
I have a feeling it's 99% exactly what we saw, and then you'll get to like a certain room or like a teleporter, and it'll bring you to like a 1 to 5 minute combat section. Like you get a little whatever it is, a puzzle piece or a star or whatever the Sonic version of that is, and then you're back into the open barren world.
Yeah, because to me, the open world idea could work, but not when it's absolutely empty and it's just you. Like in a game like Breath of the Wild where you're kind of exploring on your own, there's a feeling and a vibe there. But with Sonic, it's like I want to be attacked and kill robots and the pieces fly everywhere like Ratchet and Clank and have guys chase you and have little things you have to race after to catch and make it really organic, the gameplay.
But see, I'm not sure I fully agree with you. I agree, I would like the combat and kind of have more life to the world. But there is something that's kind of cool about just going fast up and over these mountains, and if there's loops and rail, there's something nice about that. I just think it's not as fast as it could be, and it's still barren as far as just the texture of the world goes. Like I don't necessarily need combat if it feels like for me, Sonic is all about traversal. I don't care about the combat. It's traversal, and I don't think the traversal looks very fun. Like when I think of I go back to infamous Second Son a lot because I just find that traversal in that game is phenomenal when when you can be like neon powers and just like zooming around up the buildings. Like that is really cool and really fun. And you don't need to fight in that game, even though they have interesting combat. But Sonic, I don't think they've nailed either aspect of it, and I wish it could work with just traversal, but I don't think they're anywhere close to what it could be.
How they kind of dealt with combat on the Sonic Adventure games, I felt like was close, where you jump, and then when you press the jump button in the air, you kind of just do a homing attack. And it's very simple, but it allowed for kind of like this mix of running on the rails, set piece, and then you're in the air like bouncing between by killing enemies. And it was fun. And some of the bosses, the way it worked was you basically just had to dodge them until they opened up a weak point, and then you went in and hit them. So I don't know. I thought there was something kind of fun to that. To me, you're right. It's about the traversal, but they just never nailed the controls for me. And this one just instantly looked horrible to control. Like, just something about the animation of him from walking to running and going full speed. It just looked wrong.
Also, if you watch closely, like Sonic, it looks like he has a boost button. It's one of those games where you're not always at maximum speed. You have to press A and you get a boost for like 3 seconds, and then you have to press A again.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, I'm like, how could you put that in a Sonic game? Like that's like the most unfun mechanic for him. And again, for me, like the thing that was just so jarring is the world. It looks like they're trying to like build a living, like a realistic world, but then they just have like floating springs and floating rails. Like it doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah,
like it just like it feels like some guy like was up in like the engine and like made a I
know it looks beta. It looks like a beta fan. Yeah,
it looks like it almost looks like a physics test world. You know what I mean? Where they're just testing the physics and they throw a bunch of stuff in, and then all of a sudden they're like,
coming out this year. I can't believe, like, if this was coming out at the end of next year, I might be like, okay, you have a nice beta running right now.
Yeah, you have an idea. Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, people were showing versions of Sonic 3D made in Dreams on PS4, the game maker, that looked better.
Oh yeah, I believe
with
it.
Smoother frame rate and better controls. If I were making a 3D Sonic game, you know what I'd do? I'd make it I'd fully approach it as if it was a racing game, and I'd make every level linear but 3D, and basically where Sonic never stops moving. And I just make it like each level, like I'd make like 23-minute levels. There'd be set pieces, there'd be different directions, there'd be little attack parts where like you're pressing a button to attack guys and go through them and keep racing. And basically just the whole thing would be about dodging things and racing and jumping over big things and being chased by things. Like it'd just be like a big set piece. That's how I'd do it.
Yeah, for me, like one of the reasons I never really liked Sonic from the beginning, not that they're bad games, but even like the old ones, is I find it kind of like it's at a dichotomy where you want to go fast, but if you can't see what's ahead of you, you almost have to stop and like jump over a spike, or
I know what
you know what I mean? Like you have to stop. Like I don't want to stop. I want a game where I'm either flowing all the time or have a pace to actually read what I'm doing. Like I don't want to be like stop or fast stop.
And that's
fast
what
stop,
I think
fast
they
stop.
need to figure out. Like I want to see a Sonic game that just fully embraces the speed. And there's moments of that in Sonic Adventure, in Generations, in Colors. Like there's moments of that where like you're just flying and like you're just going so fast and you're dodging these kind of easy things on the sides, but the graphics are awesome. You're having fun. But you're right. Then you get held up. It stops you at this very like annoying enemy, or a part where you have to like do really annoying platforming with imprecise analog controls. It's like it's not like Mario, where like if you have to like jump on a square that's like moving up to another square and then jump to that square, like it's like hard to do in Sonic games.
Yeah.
So they just haven't quite got that. So I mean, this is gonna be a huge skip probably for me, unless it's on Game Pass.
Me too. Or if it somehow like pulls out a crazy high Metacritic score out of the nowhere.
Just not seen it, but you know what? To be honest, this Sonic Frontiers looks better than Pokemon Arceus ever did, to me.
I know. Seriously, Pokemon Arceus was like loved.
It got 84, and people love it, so I don't get it. But that takes us to our next point here. Pokemon has a new game coming out, new trailer. What is Violet? I always forget the names. It's
Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet, and I thought. I mean, did you watch this trailer?
I did
yesterday. I thought it looked terrible. I can't believe they'd release a trailer with such bad like dithering and frame rates and like jaggies everywhere. And they showed barely any gameplay. No traversal. It seemed like no towns. Like I didn't really see. Like I felt like it was just a weirdly bad trailer to me.
Interesting.
And I mean, the biggest note to me was its November 18th release, which kind of implies to me that Nintendo might not have another big AAA release for November this year. That was the biggest takeaway for me. And I thought the box arts looked nice. But I think the game looks terrible. It looks just like a bad mix of Sword and Shield and Arceus. What did you think?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. I mean, I didn't love it, but I'm the exact opposite of you where, I'm actually more tempted now than in a long time to get a Pokemon game. I agree. Like, I think the frame rate and the graphics are choppy and not great, but like, I'm never going to go in ever thinking Pokemon's ever going to look good. Like, kind of come to expect that. But, what stood out for me is some of the starters look really interesting. I think the kind of theme that they're going for, one game being the past and one game being the future, really is kind of interesting. And I'm curious how that's going to kind of play out and how different the two games will be. Mm-hmm. I think I like the two legendary like box cover Pokemon. They look kind of cool. And this game's completely open world. You can go to the gyms in any direction, they say. And
okay, so you probably have more information than I do. I didn't read anything about it after.
And it's 4-player online co-op.
Okay, I thought that's what they were showing in the trailer when it was like 4 people playing.
Yeah. So I mean,
so how does that work though? Like
I don't know. I just there's 4 people online co-op is what's confirmed.
And you can go to any dungeon in any order.
They say it's completely open world and you can go in any direction
how does that work in terms of your Pokemon's level?
I don't know. I don't know if like there are certain areas that might be sort of locked, or maybe the gyms scale on how many other gyms you've beaten, or I really don't know. Like I don't know how that would work. Maybe like after you do a certain number of gyms or whatever, there's a story beat that makes, like, I don't know, lightning and thunder or a time warp or something, and all the enemies get stronger. Like who knows? There's a lot of ideas that could go with it.
Yeah, it could be. Where they scale to with like whatever dungeon you go to first is easier.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is just what I've been seeing people say and reading about, but I don't know if it's officially confirmed. I haven't personally read the actual Pokemon saying it, but I've been reading people that said that's what it is. Anyways, so yeah, like for me, it's like, dang, like some new Pokemon that look cool. The story looks somewhat. I like time future kind of concepts like that. Open world and even online co-op. Like I have a bunch of friends that'll probably play this. It'll be fun to play with them. So I don't necessarily know if. Cool. Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to get this, or even get this day one or whatever. But I'm interested. What might happen is I might, wait for Pokemon Violet and Scarlet to come out and then find a cheap Arceus and then wait another year for this. Like, because I still want to play Legends and Arceus too. So you
haven't played Arceus, have you? Or Arceus?
No.
I got to play. My friend had it and I played it.
I watched Brandon play it for a bit, but I didn't actually play it myself.
He like unlocked everything and I played it. And I mean, to me, it was as good as a $5 indie game or a Game Pass game that I would play for an hour, and that's it. And the thing is, it's not truly open world. So if you're telling me this new one, it's actually just one open world and not segmented like Arceus. That's actually intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what at least I've been reading about it as.
They just really didn't show very much of the game. I felt like I don't know if you felt that way.
I thought the same thing, but again, I was reading online. People were like, "Yeah, this is the May June trailer, and they always showed this much." They were like, people even predicted. They said we're gonna see 3 new Pokemon. We'll see the professors, the rival trainer, and the 2 legendary.
It's exactly that.
Like people knew exactly what was. It's always the same.
It's like there's a Pokemon company who like just does the same thing always.
That's what they. I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah. But what's the general consensus about this trailer? Like how I didn't really read a lot about our fans excited? Like, is it?
I think people are excited. Yeah. So there's 2 things that are. It's really funny. So one, people are like going crazy about how much the 2 professors how
Or
hot
hot.
they are.
I did
Yeah.
see that. I did see
People are like, man, Game Freak really knows how to cater to their
bisexual audience.
the not yet bisexual audience, but also like just their fandom artists. They're like some guy was joking. He's like, the moment those characters got revealed, I could hear the pen scratching of fan artists all over the
No
world.
kidding. And then yeah, exactly.
And the other thing that people love, and it seems like to be this big meme kind of running now, is one of the Pokemon they revealed is that big fat pig, and its name is Lechonk. So people are just like kind of memeing on the name Lechonk. They're like, oh, I want to have a Lechonk, and yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but I mean, are there people who are unhappy with
so
it? Like,
I think so. Yeah. So as far as like criticism, I think some people are kind of about the two legendary Pokemon, just because they're kind of like they're over designed or they're whatever. I think a lot of people are intrigued by this past future kind of idea, and I think a lot of people are like blown away by the co-op idea and the open world.
yeah, I mean, you're right. I think I could overlook the bad graphics if they had an open world with like the right amount of towns and dungeons and side stories and quests. Like, I think that could be amazing. Like this,
Yeah.
To me, this, yeah. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, the graphics are terrible, but this is the way I imagined a full open world Pokemon game being. Like, Arceus was not it.
No, yeah, I think this is the direction that people are hoping it's going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, sure, it's not the level it should be in 2022, but I think it's still going in the right direction as far as people are seeing, you're seeing the steps forward. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so other little thing. They released a Mario Strikers demo on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to play this?
I have not.
Still?
I still want to. I've been really busy this past week. But I want to hear about what you thought of it.
Yeah, so I went through the demo, and I liked it. They kind of give you these... I mean, they only let you do the tutorial right now, and it's only if you're a Nintendo reward... or the higher end plan, I think.
Oh, I don't even have that, so...
Yeah, or maybe it's the lower end. I don't know. But I
don't have that either.
You have to have an online plan. Oh, so you don't play Mario Kart online?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, you have to have an online plan. And there is going to be time slots for beta test, like online matches. But
aren't they this weekend?
I'm not going to play it, but I don't have time. But they are. They did have a tutorial, and in the tutorial there were little sections where it's like, okay, we're going to now set you up in a match, like a 2-minute match against against the computer, and just try to do these like checklist of things. So like you kind of get a chance to like play the full game. And it's cool. Like I did it. Like I ignored their rules and I like went around and played and tested the actual game. And so a few takeaways for me. One, the graphics look really good. Like especially on the 65-inch OLED. Like it's just next level games. Just knows how to do it with animation. It's 60 frames a second. The just feels good to play. Like the you know some games when you just like move the analog and it's just so responsive. Like
yeah.
Mario
It's
Odyssey.
tight controls.
Very tight controls. It feels great. And the animation is really good. Like they put a lot of work in. You just feel the love in the game. Like it actually, part of it made me want to get it. But the other part, the negative takeaway, was that I just found the controls like extra challenging for some reason. And I saw a lot of other people online saying this too. I don't know what it is. Like I remember playing the one on Wii and the one on GameCube, and not having a problem with it. And this one, I actually never fully grasped the controls. Like I didn't beat my head against it, but because you only have a couple 2-minute rounds. But I don't know. It's like you're constantly timing this bar, like this a meter, like kind of like in a golf game, where like you have to tap it when it gets to a certain point.
But only for your shots, right?
No, for your shots and for when you're tackling. So, like, there's this whole thing where someone's charging a shot and doing it, and you want to tackle them. There's something with their timing and your timing, and it adds this kind of mini game. And I know I know people when it clicks they're gonna love it, and it has this like, but it's like fairly deep, and it almost feels more deep than like a FIFA game. And it's so quick, right? Like you don't have time to like run around and like in FIFA, like the field is so big in a regular soccer game. You're running, you're like, okay, like I know my controls, pass, like lob, shot.
Yeah.
But this game, like you have 2 seconds, like you're constantly like kicking it, and like the high level play will just smoke people. Like there'll be a very huge like steep learning curve in this game, I think. And even though I think it'll do well, I don't know if it's going to do like a lot better than golf and tennis have on Switch. There's a big discussion about how it will actually sell. Um, I don't know.
But so far you think the gameplay, the controls complicated, but at least have depth, and you're saying it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
So there's
It
no
feels
real
good.
no major criticism, I guess.
Well, I guess my fear was that, in going through the whole tutorial and not grasping the controls, I also never felt like I really had fun with the controls. And I can't say the same thing when I first played Splatoon's demo or the first Arms demo. Like there's an intuitive instant
You either
understanding.
get it or you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like something like Bayonetta and like the Devil May Cry kind of games, like those games always click with me too. But something about this game where it's like you have items and you have multiple passes and a shot that you charge, and you have a tackle that you can charge. It's like it does throw your brain, and then you're like it threw my brain in a way that made me almost feel like I could never get it. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people said the same thing, and I think they just added maybe a little too much to the plate of what the gameplay is, and I don't know. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
You know,
It's interesting because Nintendo's really known for they keep it simple, stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like it feels good. Often their controls are simple, but it's simple and fun and good. Like if I think of we go back to Super Mario 3D World, it's like there's not a lot to that game, but it just feels good to play.
yeah.
Where it sounds like you're saying they piled so much on this that even though there's now depth to it, it doesn't actually feel good.
Yeah, and I felt myself spending more time thinking about what I needed to do other than just doing it, if that makes any sense. Where in other games you kind of get in this state where you stop thinking about the controller and you're just doing it. And
Did you play it for 20 minutes or like 2 hours?
I played it for a good 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it was long enough that I was like, like it didn't make me want to buy it. Like it wasn't like, whoa, this is actually fun. Like I'm getting it. This button's pass, this button's shoot. It's that easy, and then this button's tackle. It's not like there's so much more to it. It's like with the items and then there's the power balls, and like it's like they maybe just added a little too much. And I even almost had that problem with Mario Tennis Aces, where when you're playing like the non-regular tennis. Did you get Mario Tennis Aces, by the way?
No, I passed on Aces and golf.
Okay, I got Aces, which I think is one of the better Mario Tennis games.
I played it with you for a bit, yeah.
It's fun. I mean, it's not too confusing, the special stuff, but it almost has a steep learning curve. And this one just seems like it's way steeper. And it takes me to next level games, other last game, Luigi's Mansion 3, where it really does, like, by the end of the game, I know you and I both beat it. By the end of the game, it really does pile a lot on you for remembering what the controls are.
I found that game quite exactly what you're saying right now. It's like the controls are almost so much that I was fighting with the game.
You know what? By the end, here's the thing. Like, I couldn't pick that game up. The nice thing with Luigi's Mansion 3 is that you start off with nothing, and you slowly add all the moves, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have the jump, you have
The goop, and
you have the goop, you have the plunger shot. It's like, I love that game. Don't get me wrong.
Me
And I
too.
think
Me
the
too.
controls are
Me
fine.
too.
It's almost like Mario Strikers feels like as if Luigi's Mansion just piled on all the power-ups at the very beginning. You know what I mean? At the very beginning, like, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I think, there's not really a way to do that in a sports game. But anyways, I'm not going to buy that. So.
I mean, I don't think I will either.
Let's start talking about this Sony State of Play, because that's the real exciting kind of news.
Lots to dig into this.
Yeah, and this is like practically their E3 showing, let's be real.
Oh yeah, you don't think they're gonna have a showcase?
No. I think this is it. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with you.
I think they'll do maybe a God of War gameplay showcase, but I think for the most part, this is it for their June announcements.
For their June, yeah, I'll agree with that.
And I mean, certainly there'll be some third-party things, I'm sure, dropping that'll be on the PS5 and PS4. But anyways, let's get into it, because I have the list here in front of me. I just watched it. So the first thing they showed was none other than the long-rumored Resident Evil 4 remake. It's coming March 24th, 2023. Capcom seems to have this habit of like announcing a game in June that comes out the following early part of the year, which I like. What did you think about this?
It didn't show enough of like constant gameplay or like really any gameplay from like the third person over the shoulder view. Like I wanted to see some gameplay.
Same.
Like I think it looks good.
There was zero gameplay, right?
Unless it was like gameplay that was put at a different angle. You know what I mean? There might have been like 2 seconds of it. But you know how sometimes like there's gameplay and like they purposely put a different camera angle on it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no like HUD or anything like that. It looks good. Like I think the graphics look good, and I it feels and looks like Resident Evil 4. I'm glad they're kind of staying true to the original, at least from what we saw. I don't know if the character models do much for me, or the voice, I guess. But I mean, I'm gonna get this day one for sure, just to go for the ride. But I'm curious of kind of the liberties they're taking, what they're gonna stick with, whether they're gonna cut stuff or add stuff. Whether Ada Wong will be a more important role if there's more story development in it.
Well, it looks pretty true. I wouldn't be surprised if the story-wise it's almost 1-to-1. In terms of design.
The things that are interesting is like someone was saying if Resident Evil 3, which has reused assets and is a shorter game, got a bunch of it cut, does that mean Resident Evil 4 is guaranteed to get stuff cut, or do we take Resident Evil 4 as a more such a bigger
that's one of the
more
things
pinnacle games?
To be honest, that's one of the things I took a note here. I'm like, I kind of hope they don't gut the second half of the game, because I can see them doing that like they did with Resident Evil 3. Like I don't expect them to show the island and some of those later stages in areas in like an opening trailer like this, but it is a remake, so they could have. They really only showed the town, and I was kind of like, I wonder if they will just like do the town, the castle, the final boss.
Yeah, the only thing I can imagine is if they did something crazy where it's like the town, the castle, the boss, or like Salazar, or you know what I'm talking about, the guy with
Krauser?
No, not Krauser. Salazar. And that was part 1 of Resident Evil 4. And they made a part 2 where it was the second half, and they fleshed out both of them a bit more. And the second one, was from then on.
I don't know if I'd like that.
Me too. I mean, if it really is that technically,
I don't think they'll do that. I honestly think if anything, they'll just gut a whole bunch of the island. And that'll be that, They
can also, but I'm worried they're going to get like some of the moments that are iconic. Like, I love the invisible bugs. Like, are they going to get that? I love the rain part of the town. They could get that too. I don't think even the regenitors in the lab, right? Like,
why would they get that?
Well, it's on the island.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm just saying there's so many things that, or like what about the helicopter and all that kind of scene. Are they going to include mercenaries in this game? Like, I'm just curious. How about what about the scene where you're doing the house with Carlos and you're defending that house? Like, there's so many things that.
I mean, it looked to me like it was literally a 1-to-1 with graphical upgrade. Like,
that's what I think too.
The town looked the same to me, and honestly, if it's that, I'd be very happy. Like, if they just do kind of, and to me, it didn't look as good as Resident Evil 2 even looked.
I was going to say the same thing. Resident Evil 2 looked way better as far as the graphics go.
But I think there's a couple factors there. For one, Resident Evil 2 was dark and at night, which allows them a little more pull with graphics, where this one has trees and leaves and detail everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think just because Resident Evil 4 is so long, it's almost like the Mario Kart 8 DLC thing, where it's like they just aren't putting literally the man hours into a 25-hour game. Like, and I'd rather them go a little lighter on the graphics to be more truer, like you said with the character models. Like, I actually saw the character models for a second there, and for one moment I said, "Is this like a before after? Or are they going to show me the after?"
Yeah, exactly.
But then I kind of was like, no, this looks like the right kind of upgrade to this, and I know they'll do the controls right. And the only thing that I thought was weird was it's just a weirdly bad trailer. Like,
that's exactly. There's nothing.
Yeah, and it's coming out in March. You should be able to show me some gameplay.
They should have ended on like the El Gigante appearing and showing like 5 or 6 seconds of the El Gigante You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Something.
like no one wants to play this game to like relive the story.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Seriously.
But still, it's exciting in a day one, and I wish it was coming out this holiday.
It'd be nice if, even in a month, they just had. I would love if they just had an 8-minute video of someone doing the town section, like the opening town.
Yeah.
Like that would be enough for me to be like, damn, this is awesome.
Oh well, if it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently replayed Resident Evil 4 on finished it on Switch, and it's still amazing. It holds up so well.
It's phenomenal. To me, it's top 5, if not 3 games of all time.
Agreed. Yeah, it's probably the one game we agree on that's that high.
Yeah.
Anyways, after Resident Evil 4, they showed Resident Evil 8 VR, which for PSVR, which
PSVR 2.
PSVR 2, but correct me if I'm wrong. Does PSVR 2 have a date?
I don't think so. I actually don't think so.
I was like, did I miss the memo? Like, is the PSVR 2 coming out? Like, why are you announcing games for it?
I'd be shocked if the release date wasn't this holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably game to get one. I want it. But
yeah, people say holiday 2022 seems likely.
Sweet. I mean,
but there's another room that says 2023. I have no idea.
Who knows? But I mean, they showed quite a few games for it today for them not to have it.
That's why I think there might be a Sony showcase, in August.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're like, hey, it's coming out October now with this game and this game and this game.
Yeah.
I thought that the Resident Evil 8 VR, I mean, I don't know. Because I already have it, I might as well try it if I get the VR, because I don't think it'll be a free upgrade, I hope.
Wait, you're not getting the VR too?
I am getting the VR too. I just mean, will I have to re-buy Resident Evil 8? Or because I already have it, was the VR update for it free?
Oh, I'm not sure.
If it's free, I'll try it. I don't think I'll pay for it, because the first-person view thing makes me feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
But they also showed Walking Dead. I didn't care about that. They showed No Man's Sky VR update. We already have that for PC. And then, but the big one for me was Horizon Call of the Mountain, which I thought looked awesome.
Yeah, new game. I thought the climbing mechanic was cool, and it's a brand new, it's a new story of Horizon.
Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of Half-Life Alyx, with just like the hand motions and using your hands. But it also looked like simpler, and the graphics are beautiful. And I really just think seeing those mech dinosaurs in VR will be epic.
Yeah.
In a way that it doesn't capture on a TV.
Yeah, I agree. That looked cool. I don't really care about the other ones.
You in for VR? Are you gonna get it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that just as you were talking about Horizon. I skipped the first one. I did play Astrobot a bit at your house, and I thought it was awesome. I didn't try Resident Evil 7. I think I played Resident Evil 7 for like 5 minutes, and I also felt nauseous. So I'm not sure, because again, I'm someone that wears glasses all the time, and I don't really quite know what that means for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'd try yours and maybe get one down the line when there's more games or something, but I'm probably not a day one kind of person. But VR is pretty freaking cool, and I there are some games that I really want to play.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite know if I'm that interested in like pursuing a lot of VR gaming. Like, it's almost like I want to try it for 15 minutes on this game, 15 minutes for that game, but I don't know if I really want to do it for hours and beat games. And
yeah, exactly.
So it's a weird one. I mean, I also don't have a PS5, and I'm talking about getting a VR for it.
Yeah, you're a long way away.
Like, I feel like if they have a VR for The Last of Us or Last of Us 2, people will be mentally scarred from that.
Yes, some of the things that you do in that game.
Yeah, probably from Resident Evil 8 too. Anyways, moving on. There's also after the Horizon Call the Mountain, they announced a huge Horizon update with the new game plus, new features, quality of life, new graphic high performance mode is going to get a boost. What do you think about all this? Like, I thought this looked actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, that looks cool. For all the people that didn't beat the game or haven't played the game, I'm sure the performance mode and the graphics mode will hopefully be a bit, better. Yeah. On par with what it should be. The new game plus doesn't do much for me. Like, I've already beaten the game and platinumed the game, so I don't really. This content isn't enough for me to jump back. if anything, it just means that when they do have official DLC, I might jump back into New Game Plus first. But even then, like, the game is really good, but it's not enough for me to replay the game, like, especially so soon after. And I don't know, New Game Plus really never does it for me.
Yeah, it kind of reaffirms to me not to play games when they first come out.
Well, it didn't. I mean, like, what did it really? Why does it make a difference besides the graphics and performance mode?
Are there other quality of life improvements? Like you can wasn't there something like you could skip cutscenes or something? Like wasn't there?
You can like transmog outfits. You can wear whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and you could you could switch your upgrade stat points. You could reallocate.
Yeah, but I have those all maxed. Doesn't.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I mean, whatever. I'm not too into the Horizon series. It's nice to get these kind of things like polished up.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean, again, for people that haven't got the game yet, I think it's an awesome update.
Spider-Man is coming to PC in August, which is interesting. Probably do another pretty good numbers on the PC.
Yeah, I just saw that Insomniac Spider-Man games have sold 33 million.
Yeah, it's wild, hey?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's a mega franchise and exclusive to Sony. It's mega.
Yeah.
The next game to me was probably one of the games of the whole entire show. It's Stray. It's about a stray cat, like in the future, kind of, I guess, exploring and solving mysteries and like kind of platforming light. It looks like it looks like an indie game to me, but
yeah, I think it is an indie game.
It's just the graphics are really great, and the atmosphere of the world looks really amazing. I really want to play this, and it's like kind of cute. Looks fairly easy, so it's not stressful.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I don't know for sure. I feel it's a little bit kind of like Inside, in the sense where it's like it feels like a story. You're kind of like going through a story, and you can do little things as you progress through the story.
Yep. They have the guy from Inside has that. What is it? Summer file.
Oh yeah, that alien one, right? Yeah, Somnium file.
I think that's an Xbox exclusive though.
Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, Stray looks awesome. I like that it's kind of like, these robots are afraid of you because you're like the last living organism almost.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued by that too. I'm curious if it's not a Sony exclusive though. I don't think
so. It's timed exclusive.
Okay, because for me that's a game where it's like I know it's gonna come to Game Pass, so
yeah.
I might as well just wait the 6 months and just grab it for free.
Yeah, I mean it is also on the PS plan. Like if you have the PlayStation Premier plan or whatever it's called.
I know. I'm not gonna have both that and Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But yeah, it looks really good. I mean, I wonder if the price point will be right. If it'll be $10-$20, maybe you'll just go for it on PS5. It comes out in July, and there's not really a ton of games coming out right around now from that I'm interested in. So
yeah, it's kind of a slow few months until Splatoon.
The next game was my game of the show.
Me too. I think so.
It's called Callisto Protocol.
Oh yeah.
It's made by the guy one of the designers of Dead Space. It's announced years ago, so it's been in the works for years. And it basically just looks like a next-gen Dead Space, but with like really good graphics and art and cool camera shifts. And to be honest, after seeing the Dead Space remake, which is coming out in like January next year, and seeing this, I don't have any hype for the Dead Space remake.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm excited for both, kind of for different reasons. And again, I have a feeling this might get delayed. But
this one has a firm date, December 2nd. I mean,
yeah, but you never know. I just.
You're right. Looked a little. It didn't look.
To me, for 6 months from now,
polished.
Yeah, for coming out in 6 months, you usually see a bit more.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like unless you're going to show me like a sustained gameplay demo, like how do I know this is real?
Yeah, unless in the next like couple of weeks they say like, oh, there's a bunch more previews, which maybe that guy did say they were doing. I can't remember if that was him. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, it looks really good. So someone joked. They said this looks like Dead Space without EA fucking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for this. I always like horror games. I think space horror is really awesome. And if it has the same kind of mechanics of Dead Space, where you can like certain limbs will make a difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm stoked for this. Day one right now.
Yeah, it looks great.
And again, we could add this to our predictions
if someone chooses to.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they had Roller Drome, which looks cool. Looks kind of like I don't think it's an online shooter, but it's like a cel shaded. Almost looks like that game Sable.
I thought it was Sable when they first showed it.
Same. I'm like, oh, Sable. I'm like, oh, you gonna announce that you have a frame rate patch?
Yeah, I was like trying to skip through it to catch up because I had paused it for a bit, and I was like, oh, this is Sable. I clicked through 2, and then all of a sudden I see a rollerblade shooting guns. I'm like, oh, this is not Sable at all.
But it does look cool, and I can't remember the developer, but it's a developer who's done something.
It's the developers who made Ollie Ollie World, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, it looked good to me. I mean, it's another one of those indies that could be fun, but it looks like an arena shooter. But with cool, like a roller. I'm kind of surprised they've never done something like that, where it's like rollerblades with guns. Like,
for me, this is like kind of either I would get it on Game Pass or if it was on PS Plus, or if the price is right. Like I wouldn't mind paying $8 for this.
Yeah.
But I, at least from what I saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool and fun, but not something I'd spend $30 on.
Yeah. So after that, they showed Eternights. It's a JRPG. Yeah. This did nothing for me. I don't know.
Day one for me.
Really?
I'm just kidding. I mean, like for people that like anime or like Persona, this looks kind of like a dating sim / anime / ARPG.
Yep.
Which is kind of a weird combo. I mean, I don't know. Didn't do much for me, but for those that like that kind of stuff.
It's fulfilling a fan base.
Yeah.
And then after that, they showed Street Fighter 6, but it was like no gameplay trailer. We kind of knew it was coming.
I thought there's a quite fair bit of gameplay.
I thought I just saw the cutscenes. Maybe I skipped through that.
Oh, there's a bunch of like 1v1 combat, and there's like the open world that they showed.
What?
You didn't watch the open world?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you can. I think you can like run around the city and like there's a lot to it.
Really? I mean, from what it looked cool to me. What did you think about this, Derek?
I'm not a Street Fighter person. I'm not really a 1v1 like these kind of fighting games person. It honestly looks like Street Fighter 5 to me. I really can't even tell the difference. But yeah, for those that like it, I'm sure it's cool. So all the power to them.
You know what though? I'm looking at this world stuff now, and if they pulled that off, that'd be really cool. It'd be almost like Yakuza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The graphics look beautiful. It's coming to Xbox. I don't know. To me, this is probably going to come to Game Pass eventually. So terrible that I keep saying that.
Yeah.
To me, I'm just not hardcore enough about Street Fighter to, like, there's just not enough content that I soak into.
I'm curious. This is one of the games that I actually would probably go on the forums and just see what the fans thought of, because I don't, like you said, I don't know enough about the history of Street Fighter or what to look for. I'm sure people have already analyzed like the balance of, this movie is going to be broken, like. So
yeah,
I think I have to see what other people thought of it.
At the very least, with Street Fighter 5, I remember it launched on PS4 with like very little content. Like it had no arcade mode, had no single player. Like it apparently got a lot of flack. Mm-hmm. And over the years, they did build it up, and it did get the sales, but it did quite poorly at the first set of sales, and it was almost like seen as a disappointment. Number 5, and it's like one of those games that like No Man's Sky, where over time they've really built it into something great, but at the time, but at the very least with this one, it looks like with that open world mode, at least it's going to launch with a competent amount of content.
Yeah, it looks like it has some cool stuff there.
I mean, perception is everything, right? Like, you release a game with a lot of content, it gets high reviews, it sells super well. You release a game with a low amount of content, like Mario Golf, doesn't live up to potential, even though after time it could have had that.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, you think about like Battlefield or 2042 or even like Anthem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if those games ever really got into a good shape, but
yeah, I'm just saying they didn't have a chance. Like, like Battlefield 2042, people want it to be good, but it's like it started off so soft that it's now bombed that it will never be able to recover.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have a good launch.
Mm-hmm.
After Street Fighter 6, they showed Tunic is now coming to PlayStation, which it's already on Game Pass. I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it on Game Pass a bit more, but no.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to give it a try, I'll do Game Pass, but I just doesn't. It's kind of I got, like we talked about, we got what we needed from Death's Door for indie Zelda.
Exactly. Yeah.
The final game they showed was Final Fantasy 16, coming summer 2023. That was the big news. Probably
you missed that one game with the bike riding, but
what was it?
Season
worth mentioning?
I didn't think so. It looks like more of a game up your alley than mine, but I don't know if you would even like it.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll talk about it in the future. Maybe we won't. But Final Fantasy 16, because I did take a look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's coming together. It doesn't. I mean, to me, it looks like a game that could reasonably release in summer 2023. It looks better than what's that other game they're releasing? Forspoken looks way better than that. I thought there was some interesting combat. Like the combat looked like it's taking some pages from Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I thought was cool, but it didn't blow me away. Like, the graphics didn't even look amazing. Like I wasn't really blown away. This is coming to PS4 as well, isn't it?
Ooh, I'm not sure about that. Probably.
Yeah, that's a sad trend.
I know. Sony said they will stop making PS4 games in 2025.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, like to me, like Final Fantasy 16, it does look good. I think the graphics are kind of cool, and it looks a lot like Final Fantasy 7 Remake, like you said. But yeah, like I don't think there was a lot to show. It looked kind of just like arena combat, and
yeah, no traversal.
It didn't. How do I phrase this? Like, for me, when they first showed Final Fantasy 15, even though I didn't love that game, or when they first showed Final Fantasy 13, even though I didn't fully love that game, or even when they showed Final Fantasy 10, to me, those games when they were showed, people were like blown away.
Yes.
Like they like damn, like they're pushing hard on how awesome these games are.
Yes.
This game looks good, but it's like I feel like there's a lot of games that are on par with this now that it's not like mind blowing,
Well, you know what? The thought that ran through my head as I watched this Final Fantasy 16 trailer was, what's the big difference between this and Eternights? Or Eternights or whatever. Like, other than the name brand, like if you put some no name like JRPG name on this, would I care at all? That's
I would. I mean, I think it looks good enough to get. I just don't think it's going to be like. I remember Final Fantasy 15 or 13, like the hype that I felt when I was like, damn, like this looks so much better than anything else out there. Even though they ended up not being games I thought were great. This game just looked like another good game.
Yeah,
I don't think it looked bad or like Ender Nights or whatever it's called. Like I wouldn't compare it to that. I think it still looks good. I just don't. I see the mainline Final Fantasy games as the big guns by Square Enix. They're coming out, they're dropping these huge, awesome trailers, with awesome characters, and this just looks like, like you said, Callisto Protocol looks cooler to me than this game does.
Yeah. Well, I've never been a big Final Fantasy fan, but I think in a weird way to see them not try to like bite off this massive project almost makes me feel better that it'll be a good game, but it'll just be like an 8.5 solid game versus like them trying to do these new ideas or novel concepts. Because I agree, Final Fantasy 15 looked awesome when they first unveiled this big world and the cool combat, but when I played the demo and what I saw of the final game, I don't ever want to play that.
The only thing I will say is I'm looking at some of these screen grabs of Final Fantasy 16. They look pretty gorgeous.
Yeah, is the consensus happy?
I mean, it's probably like just like the Pokemon trailer. I think a lot of people are really hyped, but it's like the people that have always been hyped about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then there's those people that say it doesn't do much for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny, looking at this list of games, it really is like, Sony is still delivering Final Fantasy. They're still delivering Resident Evil. Still delivering Street Fighter. Like, they really have been the major home of these series for like 2-3 decades now.
Yeah.
Which is cool to think about. And I think it's glad that they hit those three notes, especially with Final Fantasy at the end and Resident Evil at the beginning. Like, it does feel very PlayStation, even though Resident Evil 4 is coming to Xbox. And I mean, Final Fantasy 16 might not.
But you know what I like is, and I don't mean this against Xbox, but I feel like there's a really cool lineup of third-party games by Capcom and by Square Enix on Sony hardware. And I think there's also a very different, but also really interesting and cool lineup of Square Enix and Capcom and whatnot games on the Switch.
Yeah.
Right? Completely different lineups. You got Live a Live, you got, Octopath Travelers, you got whatever, you got
Monster Hunter Rise.
Monster Hunter Rise, exactly. Yeah. And then I think they both kind of hit their own market really well. And then again, I feel like Xbox, we'll talk about our predictions in the near future, I'm sure, but I feel like Xbox right now is kind of like, what are you guys showing? Like, like, where are the things that you're showing?
But just to be clear, games like Callisto Protocol and Resident Evil 4
I know,
are
I
coming
know,
to Xbox.
I know, I know.
Street
I just
Fighter
mean more
6.
so. What are they? I just when I think of those, you're totally right. I know they're cross-platform, but when I think of Resident Evil, I'm thinking Sony. Right? That's just how they're doing it. Sony knows how to say, even though it's coming to other systems, we're making it so it looks like we're the system for Resident Evil.
But you know what? Xbox does that too. And over the years, there's been years where Microsoft was the one to show off Resident Evil 6 at their conference, and it made it look like an Xbox 360 game. Like that's always happens. That's just kind of like how the PR does. Like even when they released the Klonoa collection on Switch, which is coming out. It's like coming to all the platforms that they really make it look like a Switch game.
True.
So it's a little misleading, right? Like even with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it almost felt like a Switch exclusive when they first showed it.
I'm just more so curious about. You're totally right. I'm just curious about what Xbox is going to show.
Well, we can talk about that later. I mean, I think they're going to have a good showing. But, I mean, before today, we didn't know what Sony was going to show this year. And they still, where's God of War? And where's The Last of Us Remake? And, I mean, to me, if I'm really evaluating this state of play, I'd probably give it a solid 7.
Like, and also, what's coming this year? Like, Callisto Protocol, if it hits that target, and Stray. Like, everything else is 2023.
Yeah, exactly. It's too bad. I was hoping there was one point during the trailer where I thought they were showing a new Infamous game. I don't remember what it was. There was one part, and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool. Or even just like a Infamous Second Son like Plus coming to PS5, like something like that.
That'd be cool. See, it's funny when they first showed Resident Evil 4 Remake. I thought it was because they had the guitar playing in the trees. I was like, this has got to be The Last of Us Remake.
Yeah. No, I got it pretty quickly. And that's even next year. So yeah, you're right. I mean, we'll see.
I think their lineup will be God of War and if the Callisto Protocol and then whatever other third and Forspoken
the traditional Madden, Call of Duty.
In Call of Duty, yeah.
But I wonder why they didn't show God of War today if it is coming this year. Like that was a weird omission because I just didn't quite get that.
Well, they didn't show any first party games. This whole state of play was third party and PSVR.
Oh, they actually made that announcement?
Yeah, they said this is a state of play for third party games and some new third party games to be shown and PSVR 2.
That's a weird distinction. Like why not throw all your weight into your big state of play? Like why?
Well, I think they probably want to give it more attention. They'll say, I bet you in maybe mid-July they'll say we're going to do a state of play for God of War, 22 minutes, just God of War. Because they've done that one. They've done that for some of their other big games. They did one for Gran Turismo 7. They did one, I think, for Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I just don't know if I like that strategy. Like, I think they should, pair their first-party games with these types of states of play. Like, imagine Nintendo Direct was, like, they have done that in the past, but where they've said, oh, this is for just third parties, or this is just for small games, or this is just for, like, this game. But for the most part, in the last few years, it's just been, nope, we're going to throw anything at these. Anything can happen at a Nintendo Direct. And yeah, it's just weird to me that Sony would just say, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to make a distinction here. And
I think it's honestly because Sony doesn't have a lot of first-party games to show. I think they want to show God of War, and I don't even think they're going to show Last of Us Remake until, end of year, and then it's coming out in March.
Yeah,
or something
next summer,
or
not at all.
We don't know.
I mean, a lot of people are pretty sure God of War is coming because if they were going to delay it, they'd probably have done it by now.
I think God of War is coming in September.
I don't know why. I heard that rumor. Why not November? Why wouldn't they give it the 2 months to polish?
Well, at least from what people said, there's God of War merchandise that you can pre-order, like releases like September or something.
I saw that, but merchandise doesn't mean the game necessarily.
Yeah, totally, but it's still the best clue. It just seems a little weird to be like, oh, we're selling merchandise for a game that doesn't come out yet.
Could be a pre-order thing.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying it's confirmed. September would make sense to me. It gets out a bit earlier than some of these other big games, and I don't know.
But I mean, I think in my mind, this is a mega release. They should do big marketing and push it as a big November Sony exclusive. Take all the wind out of the room.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe they don't actually have a date yet, and they're worried that they haven't set a release date. Maybe they're worried that they're not going to hit the target, so they're waiting.
Yeah, they're waiting to come out with the trailer that's like February 20th
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Because maybe that's why they didn't put in this state of play, because they don't know, and they don't want to show a trailer and not have a release date at this point.
Yeah, it's a good point. Still, though, it's a weird feeling because on one hand, I feel like it's a kind of a weak showing for Sony, and nothing on the PS5. I mean, outside of a few things, has really enticed me, and this does nothing to change that. And there's not really any big exclusives. So on one hand, I kind of feel like that, but on the other hand, I also feel like, well, at the same time, Sony at least has been delivering PS5 games that look interesting, where Xbox has done, very little with exclusives. And at least even with just Stray coming out in a month or two, Sony already has more exclusives coming out in the next few months than Microsoft. So
yeah, I mean, does Microsoft have a single exclusive this year?
yeah, and I don't know if they will announce something in June to come out in the next 2 months. Like maybe one of those indie exclusives, but
They've got to have a Bethesda game coming out.
yeah, seriously. I mean, maybe we'll talk about that in our Microsoft predictions. But yeah, Derek, I don't know, any other notes here? What would you rate this out of 10?
I would give it. I mean, it had probably 3 to 4 big games that I thought were awesome, but I don't think any of those trailers of them did anything amazing except for Callisto Protocol. I give it a 7.5, maybe 8 at absolute tops.
Okay, I give it a weak 7. So. Just strong enough to be a 7, but hanging on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Derek. Well, that's been a nice chat.
Yeah, nice, good, informative podcast.
Yeah, and well, have a great night. To our listeners, thanks for joining us, and let us know you're out there.
Yep, this is Derek. See you later.
It's Peter signing out.